Hi yogis, welcome to this long hold practice. Poses are about a minute long, sometimes a bit longer. Some for strength, others for flexibility. I'll be offering alignment cues and then about 30 seconds of silence per pose so that you can soak it in as you wish to. We'll begin in downward facing dog, spreading the fingers very wide, allowing the heels to be heavy, spreading the shoulder blades apart. Tip the sitting bones high. Melt your head toward the floor, allowing the neck to be very soft. Keep distributing the work in this pose. Slide into your Ujjayi breath. You have about 30 more seconds. We'll prepare for the next pose, which is ANAHATASANA, or puppy pose. So wave forward onto your knees. Keeping the hips above the level of your knees, reach the arms forward. They can be slightly wider, but not much wider than your shoulders. If you can manage to get your chin down comfortably, there is benefit for the cervical spine and for the throat, but make it comfortable, so if that means the nose, the forehead, or a cheek rests, allow that to happen. Keep sinking into the sensation as though you had a sandbag behind your chest. And if it's at all possible, keep spinning the sitting bones up toward the ceiling. This pose gets deep into the shoulders and asks the thoracic spine to extend. So it's so beneficial. We're here for another half minute or so. Inch your way out of ANAHATASANA, preparing to lower chest and chin as we snake the heart forward into Cobra position. And it's not a long hold in Cobra, but it is a hold so we can savor the sensation of the heart opening, sides of the neck softening. You could even roll the head around. Then dip back down and take your time transitioning to downward facing dog. From downward dog, extend the right leg up high and draw the knee in towards your nose and plant this foot between your hands. Settle the left knee onto a mat or a blanket and then take an extra second to slide it back a little bit. This is our hold, a low lunge. In Yin, it's called a baby dragon. You can take fingertips alongside your right foot or use blocks or a book to support yourself. Do anything that you'd like to do with your head and neck, because the opening here is in the hip flexors and the psoas muscle. It's as though your hip flexors are the suspension bridge between your femurs and your spine. And so give everything you have to that opening.
To take this stretch deeper, bend the left knee, reaching back with the right hand to take hold. If it feels natural to settle down onto the left elbow, we can do that. But never feel strained in your stretches. If there's an excess intensity, the body won't let go in the way we want it to. It won't give us the length we want. So settle into your shape. We have about 20 more seconds. Begin to make your way out of this pose, preparing for the next, which is HALF-HANUMANASANA, half split, just by straightening the right leg, supporting yourself perhaps on fingertips or blocks, lengthening the spine as you fold. You can make as many subtle adjustments as you like. Take advantage of the opportunity to breathe space into the torso, and then to exhale your way into depth. After some time, I'll cue the option to make this full Hanumanasana. And if full split is uncomfortable for you, set up some pillows and blankets so that you can sit up really very high. And if it's still uncomfortable, then just stick with this half Hanumanasana. It's one of the best ways in yoga, I believe, to find length at the hamstrings. Take your time. Find ease when you can. And if you'd like to begin the journey to the Monkey King, the full Monkey King, Hanumanasana split, we can do that now. You have about 45 more seconds to shift around or just melt in. Listen to the call of your body. Let's emerge from this stretch. We're going to head into either headstand preparation or full headstand pose. Please, of course, always take it to the wall if you'd rather be there. You're going to clasp fingers behind your head, pressing down through elbows, and the elbows remain shoulder width apart. As best you can, drawing the ribs in, pointing the tail up toward the heels. If at any point this becomes too much strain on your neck, then come out, take a child's pose, and maybe come back in. If you'd prefer not to do a headstand, shoulder stand is a nice alternative. So is having your legs just up the wall. We'll hold this inversion for another half minute. Let's begin to lower out of headstand or our inversion. Taking child's pose. We'll give ourselves time to allow the neck to decompress, to breathe spaciousness in between the vertebrae. Taking nice long deep breaths. Here for about 15 more seconds. Reach the arms forward one by one, taking your time as you come back to downward facing dog. We'll slide this left leg up very high. Drawing the knee toward your nose, plant the left foot between your hands and settle the right knee onto the mat or onto a cushion. Taking the right knee as far back as it'll go. Ideally, you're in front of the kneecap. You can support yourself with fingertips or blocks. This is our powerful psoas opener. The neck is absolved of responsibility. So all we need to do is settle in, breathe deeply, and get comfortable with the idea of opening and lengthening. If you'd like to deepen it, we'll bend the back knee and reach for that foot with the left hand. Take it as deep as it wants to go, or lay off whenever the body needs to. I'll be quiet so you can spend more time right here. Let's release the lunge. Preparing for HALF-HANUMANASANA, our hamstring stretch. Breathing length into the spine. Using breath as our best teacher. It'll tell us when we've gone too far, when we can go deeper. Can flex the left foot for a more powerful opening. And be here with no sense of urgency. And as time goes on, if you'd like to grow this into full Hanumanasana or full split, feel free to. Consider using a prop underneath the left seat. If you're extremely flexible and very comfortable in your splits, you could be placing a block or a book underneath your left heel to take it even farther. But we want ease as we open. I have a tendency to be a little tighter on my left side. I find that many of my students share that. So I end up holding this for a little longer than I did on the right side. We're here for a little over a minute now. If you need to cut it short, please, of course, do. This is like a pause and play. All my videos are pause and play. I want you to be able to make it work for you. Enjoy your opening. Let's emerge from this powerful leg opening. And we can tuck the back toes, slide the left leg high behind us, and set yourself up for our second and final headstand. You can do any inversion that your body is asking you for, including legs up the wall. Sometimes that is just the sweetest option. I'm going to do straddle legs. It's just Upavishta, wide open legs, allowing gravity to do all of the work. I'm not straining. I'm just letting the muscles lengthen. It's fun to do this at a wall because you can kind of mark where your heels begin, and then after a minute or so, they'll inevitably be in a different place. Holding for a little over a half minute. Enjoy. Keep as much control as you can coming out of headstand. And right back into a child's pose, breathing length, especially into the cervical spine, the neck. Settle in and recover from the work you've just done. It's a good time to check in with breath. Notice if it has changed. Watch it as it gets slower and fuller. Let it work its healing magic throughout your system. Coming out of child's pose, make your way back into downward facing dog. We're setting up for our next shape, which is side angle pose, Utthita Parshva Konasana. We'll lift the right leg high, stepping the right foot between your hands. Take a nice long lunge and consider starting with the right forearm on your thigh. You don't have to take that option, but I love to just grow into the depth of a posture. The left arm is reaching across the ear line, spinning the heart up toward the sky, tucking the right hip underneath as you draw the left hip bone and femur back. And if the body wants to go farther, place the right hand outside of the foot onto a block, some support, or maybe just the ground. It could be on fingertips. That keeps a nice lightness in the heart. If you feel lightness on your palm, take the palm. Keep hugging in the sides of your waist. And then inhabit the pose. Inhabit your breath body. Release this by placing the left hand on the ground. We'll roll the right arm up to the sky, beginning in this spinal rotation. And if we want to, we'll end up in modified side plank or full side plank. Feel free to stay here, or if you'd like to, step the right foot halfway back on the mat as you roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Still spinning the right arm high, arcing the hips up high, perhaps even stacking the feet. As best you can, opt for external rotation of that bottom arm. So it's like you're spinning the elbow crease forward. Giant breath. It's not a forever hold. And we'll step the right foot all the way behind us, taking a wild thing, lifting the hips high, opening through the chest. And even though this can be a fairly deep back bend, try to think of the whole front body, even the back body, is lengthening from toes to fingertips. It's lovely to notice where the energy is caught. If it feels natural enough to place both hands on the ground, modifying a wheel, feel free to do that. But it's going to look different for every body. Give yourself the shape you require. And we'll emerge from this and into pigeon with the right knee forward. Before you settle into pigeon, make sure it's comfortable. Make sure the hips are relatively even. If you find yourself leaning over to the right, then place some cushion underneath the right seat. Keep a little bit of flexion through the right foot. Listen closely to your body. Figure out what it is requiring before you melt fully into the shape. It may be a heart opening, little extra hip flexor opening for the left side. Or maybe you just walk your heart forward. You could make a cushion with your arms, or you could use a real cushion. And how can I surrender? I'll stay for another minute, and in a little while, if you'd like to deepen it, you could thread the left arm underneath the right, even reaching the right arm behind your body. If you happen to catch hold of your toes, you happen to catch hold of your toes. Or stay right here. Awaken from this pigeon. Climbing up, taking the time you need. Eventually stepping into downward facing dog. We'll lift the right leg high. And if you want to, take a vinyasa flow. And maintain some heat in the body. And we'll land in downward facing dog together. Lifting the left leg high in preparation for side angle pose, Utthita Parshvakonasana. We'll draw the left knee forward, plant this foot between your hands. Settle into a deep lunge with the back heel grounded down. Left forearm could start on your thigh as you reach the right arm all the way across your ear line, aiming to spin the heart up toward the sky. Keep hugging the belly in, the sides of the waist in, and swiveling your pelvis in the same direction as your chest. If it's natural to take this deeper and farther, settle the left fingers low near the ground to the outside of your left foot. Enjoy the shape, finding your refinements along the way. To come out, place the right hand down on the ground. Lift the back heel and roll the left arm up toward the sky, beginning with this spinal rotation. Feel free to stay here, lifting out of the bottom shoulder, aiming for external rotation of the bottom arm. Or perhaps taking it toward a modified side plank or even full side plank. Keep arcing the hips high and sending breath through the whole body. Just about 15 more seconds. Find a way to step the left foot behind the right foot, to lengthen through the body as you lift the hips, expand through the heart, and grow this wild thing. Keep as much ease as you can. And if it wants to become wheel, it becomes wheel. But if it's nowhere close, it's perfectly good. We'll keep hugging the abdomen in to safely back bend. Keep directing breath through the whole body. Like you're an orchestrator of prana. When you're ready to come out, we'll slowly roll onto the right hand, helping the left knee all the way up to the top of the mat in preparation for Pigeon Pose. The left knee can point forward or slightly left. Find balance through the pelvis. And then ask the body what shapes it needs before it melts into sleeping pigeon. You could make a pillow with the hands or use a real pillow. But settle in. And if you want to take it farther, you could slide the right arm underneath the left eventually, taking a twist in your pigeon. We've got a good minute more. Awaken from your pigeon, planting hands on earth, tucking the back toes and sweeping the left leg high for three-legged dog. Take a vinyasa if you wish to, savoring. Feel a final downward facing dog in this practice, pouring the pelvic bowl forward. And we'll settle onto all fours, pressing hips to heels for our final shape, child's pose. Stay as long as you wish to. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I have many more videos on my channel, and I love hearing what your requests are. Thank you very much. Stay in touch. Spread the love.